Chapter 36. Lascivious always makes trouble. William Walton came downstairs to eat. He looked at the butler and said, "Invite Laura out to have a meal." The butler replied, "Miss Green just said that she had some matters to attend to in the school, so she left first." William Walton smiled. He knew there were no matters in the school. She was shy and wanted to avoid him. "Call Mike to buy breakfast for Laura on the way to school. All right?" She was still in a daze when she entered school. She must have gone crazy last night. She was obsessed with his face, causing her to feel so embarrassed. Lascivious always made trouble. That's true. At this moment, she believed this sentence. She stretched one hand and patted her face. "Laura Green, wake up. If you continue doing things like this, you will lose all the reputation that you've accumulated for the past 20 years. Do you know that?" She took a deep breath and moved towards the school building. Before class, she read the books and ate the breakfast that Mike had bought for her. Her cell phone vibrated as the professor entered. She opened her phone and saw it was a message from the principal. Her mood instantly dropped to the freezing point. At noon, after class was over, she went to the office of the principal. The principal looked at her coldly as usual. She respectfully said, "Principal, I'm here. I remember the last time you said that you would break up with Avery. We've already broken up. Then tell me, what is this?" The headmaster tossed a stack of photographs at her feet. She did not bend down to pick it up, but looked down at them. It was a photo of yesterday. Avery Harris went for her and told her he wanted to make up with her. In the photo, at the school field, Avery half-kneeled in front of her. She calmly looked at the principal. "This was captured when Avery Harris was pestering me, but you should be relaxing now because Avery Harris has given up." "Why should I believe you? I never make a joke like that. Besides, your son doesn't deserve my love." "Laura Green, you are so fictitious and absurd," Laura Green said indifferently. "I'm not fictitious. I'm just different from you. As for me, I never judge a person using money as the standard." The principal looked at Laura Green with disdain. The more she looked at her, the more she disliked her. "Principal, if you have nothing to say, I'll leave. Don't let me see any more rumors about you and my son, or else. Then please take good care of your son and tell him not to bother me again." Laura raised her hand and looked at the watch. "Principal, I've made an appointment with my friend. If you have nothing to say, I'll be leaving. Goodbye." She turned around and walked out. The principal coldly harumphed and said, "It's the fault of the poor." After exiting the office of the principal, she heaved a sigh of relief. She could probably guess who had done it. However, it didn't matter, because she didn't care at all. William Walton came out of the conference room in the morning, and the secretary followed him into his office. "Mr. Walton, the information you asked me to investigate Miss Green yesterday, I've got all of them." As he said that, he handed the information over to William Walton. William Walton received it and casually flipped it open. Seeing the information about her mother being dead and her father's situation being unknown, he looked at the secretary. "Her father's situation is unknown? You called it detailed information?" "Mr. Walton, in terms of household registration, Miss Green was raised by a single mother. However, I had some people investigate in private and found out that this Miss Green is probably a member of the Anderson family." "Anderson family?" "Yes, the illegitimate daughter of the Anderson family. But the Anderson family has never revealed any news of an illegitimate daughter, and there doesn't seem to be too many connections between Miss Green and the Anderson family. I have investigated the accounts of Miss Green. Within 3 years, she has never received any bank transfers from the Anderson family, so this news was not certified." William Walton raised his brows slightly, looking extremely evil and charming. The secretary continued, "During her university period, Miss Green worked a lot. From what I gathered, she worked more than 10 jobs. William Walton's eyes turned cold. "Tell me, what did she do?" "She worked as a waiter in KFC, coffee shops, bars, hotels, and as a piano player in restaurants. She also worked as a model for artists, sold milk at supermarkets, worked as a taxidermist at a clothing factory, and as a tutor." "Okay, I know." William Walton's face turned completely cold. "Leave the documents here. You are free to go." "All right, Mr. Walton." The secretary went out. He opened the file and read it, which also included the latest activities of the Anderson Group. A young girl, just over 20 years old, like Laura Green, had done so many things for the sake of living. His heart ached. How could her father be so cruel? It seemed that this illegitimate daughter was not useful at all to the Anderson family. However, her role could be important to him. Anderson family. It's time to properly settle some of the debts. Laura invited Judy Allen to the dining hall to eat together. Judy Allen supported her and talked about their plans after graduation. In the distance, Elsie Clark held Avery Harris's arm and walked toward the dining hall with him from another path. As they walked closer, Elsie Clark waved her hand and said gently, "Laura Green, Judy Allen, how about coming to eat with us? What a coincidence. Let's go together." Neither of them paid any attention to her. Judy Allen said as she walked, "Laura, today at noon, I inexplicably want to eat fried chicken." She smiled warmly. "Didn't you dislike fried food? But I hate chickens, so even if I don't like eating chicken, I still want to eat a few bites because of someone." On the side, Elsie Clark's face instantly turned sour, with an expression about to cry. Judy Allen, you don't have to scold me like that. I have never offended you before. I'm scolding you? Judy Allen tilted her head. Please, you said that I'm cursing you just because I want to eat chicken? So how about the PUBG game? You feel offended because you indeed did something disgusting, so forget about pretending to be innocent. Avery Harris looked at Laura, seeing that she was careless and didn't even look at him once. His heart felt suffocated and mad. He said coldly, Judy Allen, speak with respect. Judy Allen raised her chin. Avery Harris, I don't want to talk to you since you're trash, so don't call me by my name. I feel disgusted. I'm trash? Do you think your friend is better than me? Ask her what she has done, and let's see if she dares to say that. Laura looked at him with her cold face. Judy Allen had a bad temper. Upon hearing Avery Harris say that, she immediately stood in front of him and shouted, You bastard Avery Harris! Did your conscience get eaten by dogs? Chapter 37, Laura, we are done. Seeing that Judy Allen was about to go crazy, Laura Green immediately reached out her hand to cover her mouth. At the same time, Elsie Clark shouted, Judy Allen, cut the crap. Seeing this, Avery Harris realized they were hiding something. He looked at Judy Allen and said, Finish your words. Judy Allen pulled back her hands. Laura Green, you're already about to break up with this trash. What are you thinking about? I'm already dead depressed for you. Since you're not willing to say it, I'll help you out. Judy Allen walked forward and pointed at Avery Harris. You are a heartless man. Listen carefully. Your mother is a dead pervert, and it was you who shamelessly chased after her. When Laura was dating you, your mother always made trouble for her. Not only that, she told her professional teacher to treat her badly. Laura was excellent, but she wasn't qualified to study abroad. Why? Was anyone in the entire school more qualified than her? The reason she wasn't able to go was because she was treated unfairly by those teachers. She continued, The worst thing is that your vicious mother told her the truth. She wanted Laura to know her future was in her hands. Yet Laura never fought back against her for you. Even today, the old witch called her to her office and scolded her. This girl is a fool. She never told you about these things because she was afraid it would affect the relationship between you and your mother. Avery Harris, I was touched by her after all she'd done, but what did you do? You slept with Elsie Clark. You're a complete trash. You, your mother, and Elsie Clark will get your retribution sooner or later. I hate you all. Avery Harris was shocked. He stood on the spot and looked at Laura. Elsie Clark's face turned pale. She stepped forward to push Judy Allen. Judy Allen, you are crazy. You have no right to judge our lives. It's none of your business. Judy was not a coward. With a flip of her hand, she pushed Elsie Clark to the ground. If I were crazy, I'd have beaten you to death first. How could I be your roommate? You screwed someone else's boyfriend. You're a disgusting bitch. Avery Harris's heart ached as realization hit him. It was only now that he understood his existence had brought too much pain to Laura. He knew how stubborn and tenacious Laura Green was. She wasn't someone to lower her head easily, yet for him, she had endured so much. Over the past year, he thought he was doing well, but compared to Laura, he had been a sadist helping his mother hurt her. Ignoring Judy Allen and Elsie Clark's argument, he looked at Laura. Without a word, he helped Elsie Clark up and pulled her into his embrace. Looking at Laura, he said coldly, Laura Green, we are done. Let me formally introduce you to my girlfriend, Elsie Clark. Elsie Clark was stunned, as was Judy Allen. Laura nodded calmly. Okay. Judy Allen stared at her, about to speak, but Laura interrupted. Blessings to you both. Judy, I'm hungry. Let's go eat something. Half a month later, Laura's foot completely recovered. She threw away her walking stick and felt that walking on 2 legs was the happiest thing in the world. With no classes in the afternoon, she went to work at the burger shop. Over the past few days, the shop manager had taken care of her, keeping her at the front desk to take orders. At 3 o'clock, Nick Anderson arrived. When she saw him, she pulled down the brim of her hat. Nick Anderson walked over with a smile. I want to order 100 spicy chicken leg burgers. She frowned, but quickly processed his order. May I ask if you are paying by credit or cash? Nick replied calmly. I forgot my wallet. I'll pay later. After staring at him for 3 seconds, she entered the amount into the system. Sir, please go to the other side to collect your order. Nick Anderson smiled but didn't move. Since no one else is ordering, I'll stand here for a while. Laura ignored him. He continued. What time do you get off work? I'll pick you up. Let's have dinner together. No, I have to go to school tonight. Nick sighed, leaning on the counter. Laura, are you still mad at me? It's been half a month. You don't talk to me anymore. She responded firmly. Mr. Anderson, I'm working. Please wait at the other side. Unwilling to leave, Nick waited in his car by the shop. At 6 o'clock when Laura left, he blocked her path. Laura, he called. I have a tutoring session. You should leave, she said. Can't we eat dinner first? I don't have time. Nick looked helpless. When will you forgive me? Laura glared. I'm not angry. I just believe I should keep my distance from the Anderson family. I tutor William Walton's younger brother, and we all have our positions. But do you think William Walton sees you only as a tutor? Laura, I'm your brother. He's just an outsider. She snapped. He doesn't even know I'm an Anderson. Why do you all assume there's something abnormal between us? Do you think I'm trying to marry into a big family? My mother suffered humiliation because of your father. Do you think that lifestyle attracts me? With that, she turned and left. Nick grabbed her wrist, trying to stop her. Just then, a black Maybach stopped in front of the burger shop. William Walton stepped out, his gaze locking onto Nick Anderson. Chapter 38, William Walton, True Gossip. Seeing William Walton appear, Nick Anderson's expression instantly turned cold. William Walton smirked. Miss Green, I'm here to pick you up. Laura removed her wrist from Nick Anderson's grip and said, You can go back. I'm busy. Without looking back, she got into the car. Watching her leave, Nick felt a deep frustration. William Walton looked at Nick before closing the car door with a proud expression. The car drove off, leaving Nick clenching his fists. This was bad. If this continued, he would lose everything. In the car, William Walton glanced at Laura with satisfaction. You fought with him? She turned to him. You like meddling in other people's business. He grinned. I thought we were friends. This is called small talk. She retorted. Sorry, I don't want to chat about these things with you. Also, I'm just an ordinary person. I would never become friends with the CEO of a big family like Mr. Fanning Walton. William raised his eyebrow, surprised. This woman didn't want to be his friend? No one had ever dared to challenge him. Good. Very good. He suddenly felt a growing desire to conquer her. She turned to look out the window, thinking to herself that William Walton was gossiping. On the day of Benjamin's exam, Laura felt more nervous than he did. She found him early in the morning to remind him not to forget anything. Just as he was about to leave, she took his backpack and checked it again. Satisfied, she finally sent him off with a relieved heart. Holding the car door, she said, Benjamin, don't be nervous during the exam. You're excellent, and the exam is just for fun. Benjamin Walton replied calmly, Miss Green, you seem more nervous than I am. She awkwardly smiled. Anyway, stay alert and don't be careless. He laughed and turned to William Walton, who stood outside the car. Brother, you should stop her. If she keeps nagging, I'll be late for the exam. She rolled her eyes. Fine, I won't nag you anymore. Benjamin grinned. Brother, Miss Green, just wait for my good news. I'm leaving. The car door closed and the driver took him away. Laura suddenly clapped her hands. Oh no. William Walton asked. What's wrong? She frowned. He ate bread this morning. And I forgot to tell Auntie that he should have had 1 fried dough stick and 2 eggs. They represent good luck. William shook his head. Superstitions. I never ate anything like that during exams, but my scores were high. She paused, realizing he had a point. Forget it, she thought. Benjamin's exam will go smoothly. William said, Don't worry about the exam. Get in the car. I'll take you to school. She hesitated. Mr. Walton, today is the day my job officially ends. I'll move out of your house. He studied her. Going back to the dorm? She nodded. Yes, I need time to prepare for my defense. I've rented a place near the school. He didn't reply, and she smiled, adding, I'll go in and retrieve my luggage. William dropped her at the school gate. As she stepped out, she said, Mr. Walton, our relationship has ended. We won't have many chances to meet in the future. I wish you all the best. He nodded as she walked away. Watching her leave, he curled his lips. End it? Daydreaming. After walking a short distance, she turned back to see his car had already left. She took her luggage, called a taxi, and went to her rented house. At noon, after lunch at school, she went to work. Sometimes the school felt vast, and meeting someone by chance seemed impossible. However, when she wanted to avoid someone, it became small. Avery Harris and Elsie Clark walked toward her. She ignored them, walking on the other side of the road. Elsie tried to greet her, but Avery stopped her. Don't disturb her, he said coldly. Elsie bit her lip. I just wanted to say hi. Avery's eyes darkened. You owe her. You don't have the right to greet her. He let go of her wrist and walked ahead. Laura slowed her pace. Fear. Memories of Avery riding his bike to pick her up after lunch flashed in her mind. Now, another girl accompanied him. That day, after parting ways with him, she received a text message. The content was simple. Laura, I will no longer bother you or make things difficult for you. Give me 2 years and I'll give you a beautiful future. But at the age when they should love each other most, they were separated. How could she believe in such promises? She didn't want anything anymore. Her reply was brief. Take care. In the afternoon, at the burger shop, she saw Nick Anderson again. She frowned. Why are you here again? To return the money. Smiling, he handed her $1,000. She raised an eyebrow. You could have transferred it. I just wanted an excuse to see you. Do you think I didn't bring money yesterday? No one else would find excuses to meet their little sister except me. Laura sighed, took the money, and stuffed it into her bag. Nick grabbed her wrist, leading her to his car. Opening the door, he gestured for her to get in. She frowned. Where are we going? To a good place. You're not allowed to object, otherwise I'll come here every day. Chapter 39, Mend. She got into the car, and Nick Anderson smiled at her. Where are we going? She asked. I'm going to defend my thesis. I have to. You'll be back in half an hour. Just take it as a chance to relax. He started the car and drove away without saying more. He drove to the south of the city and got out. This place was very spacious, but it couldn't be considered a good one. She stepped out of the car and walked to his side. Brother, is this a good place? I want to give you a surprise. Wait a moment. He took out his cell phone and made a call. Let's begin. After hanging up, he said, Look at the sky over there. She looked towards the distant sky. Just as she was about to say nothing, she suddenly saw streams of fireworks flying into the air. The fireworks exploded midair at the same time, forming the word, sorry. Although not perfectly neat, from this angle, the word was still clear. She frowned until the fireworks traces completely disappeared. Then she turned her head to look at him. Brother. I've thought it over carefully, he interrupted. That day, you were right. Because we were on different sides, we have different opinions. I shouldn't have interfered with your right to make friends. She smiled at him. Seeing her smile, Nick Anderson let out a sigh of relief. For the past half-month, I felt truly sad. My dearest sister ignored me. I thought, even though my tone was a bit heavier that day, I was doing it for your good. Why were you so angry? Only later, when you told me, did I realize I was using my thoughts to control you. Your relationship with the Anderson family wasn't good to begin with, and the Anderson family has let you down. So before you do anything, it's only right not to think about the family. Laura, I won't do this again. Can you forgive me this time? I know you're doing this for my good. After all, William Walton is not someone I should offend. It's because he's not worthy of you. Ha ha. Brother, don't use that word. We're not a couple. Nick Anderson focused on her profile. This girl was so beautiful it was hard for him to look at anyone else. The reason I'm angry is that you, like father, see me as a normal woman. None of you ever thought that the interactions between William Walton and me don't have any ulterior motives. It's because of what he did to you that day. So, I misjudged. Laura, I support you in making all kinds of friends and being yourself, but I hope you can protect yourself. In this world you're the most precious. No matter what, you must never be hurt by a man. If not, my heart will ache. Can you promise me that? She looked at him, nodded emotionally, and smiled. Brother, don't worry. In the future, William Walton and I will have no interactions. As she finished speaking, the phone in her bag lit up. The words "the third young master of the Crown family" were displayed on it, but she didn't know her phone was muted. After the fourth call was ignored, William Walton's patience reached its limit. Their employment relationship had just ended this morning, and she didn't answer his calls tonight? Heh, this woman was truly heartless. He called his secretary. Check her current location. Half an hour later, Nick Anderson dropped her at the entrance of Big City Homes District. She got out and said, Brother, thank you for letting me see such beautiful fireworks tonight. Be careful on your way back. You don't want me to come to your place? Nope, otherwise, you'll come often. You little girl, she smiled. I'll go back now and prepare for my thesis. Okay, call me if you need anything. She nodded and waved before walking back to the neighborhood. When she reached Building 3, she saw a familiar car parked in front, but thought little of it. As she opened her door, the car door behind her suddenly opened. William Walton walked out with his arms crossed, staring at her. Is this what you meant by living in the school? Startled, she turned around. Mr. Walton, why are you here? It seems that every time I appear, it shocks you. This time it did. She'd just moved here and hadn't told anyone. This is my city. Even if you lived in a rat's den, I'd find you, he said. You're looking for me? What's the matter? Her words stunned him. What was the matter? Of course not. Why didn't you answer when I called? Did you call? She asked innocently. He sneered. Heh, pretending you don't know. I don't know. I was at work and my phone was muted. He called her phone again. Sure enough, it was muted. She checked her bag and saw 9 missed calls, 5 from him, 4 from Judy Allen. When I'm in class or working, my phone is muted, she explained and called Judy back. Judy, what's wrong? Laura, are you okay? Why weren't you answering? I was at work. Why were you so worried? Hearing her conversation, William Walton realized she wasn't ignoring him on purpose. For some reason, this realization made him unhappy. Chapter 40. You want to come in with me? He was certain of this. It was because her address was found by a group of people who had focused on tracking her movements for the entire day in 20 minutes. Go upstairs. He walked over to the elevator. Looking at his back, she was somewhat speechless. What did it have to do with him? However, she couldn't stand here all night just to stop him from going upstairs. After all, she still had things to do. She followed, got into the elevator, and pressed 9. William Walton hugged his chest. And here I thought you were quite capable. She looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. Looking at her stupefied expression, he shook his head in disappointment. Your boyfriend has been robbed. Why is it that you're the one being kicked out of the dorm instead of the bitch? She frowned. Did you investigate me? I'm busy. Then how do you know about me? He looked at her calmly. I knew it when you jumped into my car during the heavy rain. Then how do you know that woman is my dorm friend? I never said anything about it. She glared at him. It was best if he didn't say anything that could be calculated by pinching his fingers. Otherwise, William Walton smirked. The principal said that Avery Harris doesn't have good taste. There are so many women in the world, but why does he pick you two who share the same dorm? So, it was the principal who said it. The elevator door opened, and she walked out. He looked at her back and raised an eyebrow as he smiled. Was this woman that easy to fool? He believed it. You haven't answered my question. Why did you get kicked out in the end? I wasn't kicked out. I left voluntarily. She said that she wouldn't leave, and I didn't want to be in the same room with someone like that. So there was nothing wrong with letting me leave. It seems to me that you were driven out. That's your way of thinking. Leaving would benefit me a lot. Although my boyfriend was robbed, I don't feel like I lost. On the contrary, I feel like I won. William Walton said in disdain. You know how to comfort yourself. What did you win? She stopped and looked at him. I win my freedom and ego. It is much better than being betrayed after I marry him. Then I will lose everything. She turned around and opened the door to 909. William Walton smiled slightly as he listened to her words. This woman's way of thinking sometimes made him feel new. She saw her boyfriend sleeping with another girl, but she broke up with him peacefully. Not only did she break up with the men, she even took the initiative to leave their lives. No wonder why Avery Harris kept pestering her after they broke up. She was really special. However, he didn't know if she was doing it on purpose or not. If she did it intentionally, then her scheming was indeed frightening. He followed her into the room. It was a one-room apartment. The entire house was smaller than his bedroom. He looked around the house. How can anyone live in a place like this? She rolled her eyes at him. Not everyone in this world is a capitalist. It seems to me that this place is very good. Are you serious? He walked to the window. The environment was ordinary, the lighting was ordinary, and the space was small. How depressing it must be to live here. It suits me. For me, what suits me is the best. Have you never thought about staying in the Walton family temporarily, where the conditions are much better than here? Would it be more suitable for you? Stay at your house temporarily, me? Why? She went to the only main table in the small living room and put down her school bag. The house I live in is rented with money I earned by my labor. I live in peace. You can feel at ease in my house because you're a tutor to Benjamin. Mr. Walton, as you can see, this place is very safe. I thank you for your concern, but I need to quickly write an essay now. This woman wanted to kick him out once again. In the month he had known her, he had been rejected thousands of times, more than he had in the past 20 years. However, this woman didn't know that there was a saying, easy it is to invite the fairy in, but to see him out the door is quite another matter.